All right, all right, all right. Let's make some custom brushes in Illustrator. I'm going to make tapered art brush and some other hair related brushes to use in our vector portrait. Really pretty easy to do. Just make sure you follow along with the steps. Since these are Illustrator brushes, you have to have Illustrator open. If you don't have it open, go ahead and do so. Then we're going to create a new document. And in my new document, I'm going to click over on Web to make things easy. Just click on the very first one there. Common size is fine, and click Create. I want to hit Command 0 to center and view my whole artboard. Command 0. Next up, we want to make sure that our fill is black and we have no stroke. So I'm just going to swap fill and stroke so that my fill is black. And then I'm going to double click or click on the stroke and make sure, pick the red line for none. So black fill, no stroke. I'm going to take my Ellipse Tool, so I'm going to hold down on Rectangle Tool, and a pop-out window comes and I get Ellipse Tool, or L. And I'm not going to draw, I'm just going to click. I'm going to make this, let's see, 30 by 2 pixels. Okay, 30 by 2. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so we can see that. So I'm 30 by 2. I'm going to take my selection tool, aka the black arrow, and holding the shift key, I'm going to move that up 90 degrees so it's going up and down like that. And we're going to make this into a scatter brush for the hairline. So clicking on that ellipse that we just drew, come over to your brushes palette or panel. If you don't have it there, you can go up to Window and Brushes. And we want to get rid of these brushes that are already there. So with the flyout menu open, click on the options, little options line right there, and choose Select All Unused and click on that. Next up, delete them. Delete brushes and click Yes, and it's going to keep these very basic ones, which is fine. Now with this selected, black arrow, create a new brush. This particular brush will be a scattered brush. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to call this Hairbrush 1, and we're going to adjust a few things right here. So for spacing, all right, so we have spacing. We want it to stay fixed, but we're going to make it 5% so it overlaps each other. Then under scatter, we're going to switch to random, and we want to make the first percentage 25 and keep the second one at 0. We want our rotation relative not to the page but to the path. And very, very, very important, colorization method, you want to make sure that you choose tint. Why that is important is even though we're creating this as a black fill brush, by using the tint colorization method, any color that you choose when drawing it out, that is what the color will be. So it's really important to have that as tint, and click OK. And you can see here we've added that little brush. Next up, we're going to create a hair shine brush. So this would be like adding little highlights or hair shine when you're done. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here just so I can see that a little bit better. I'm going to take my black arrow and I'm going to select on this and I'm going to hold Option, drag it over, and move it up a little bit like that. Yours doesn't have to be exactly like mine, but something along those lines. Then I'm going to highlight both of them. Click on it, Option drag. I'm going to hold Shift and duplicate it to the right, and Command D to duplicate one more time. And you can see I have these kind of zigzags like that. I'm going to highlight all of them. I'm going to come over here to our new brush. This is going to be an art brush. I'm going to click OK. And up here in Art Brush 1, I want to rename that to Hairbrush 2. We want to make sure the direction is either up or down, which it is, which is awesome. And then again, our magic colorization method of tints, and click OK. Now we're going to delete those. Highlight them and hit delete. Command 0 to zoom back out. Keeping our fill at black, we're going to come back to the Ellipse Tool, click again, and we want this to be 300 pixel width this time, and click OK. I'm going to zoom in so I can see it a little bit better, something like that. Hold my space bar, bring it over. Take my direct selection tool, the white arrow. I'm going to click on the left anchor point and come up to my options bar here and convert the selected anchor point to a corner. Then I'm going to come all the way to the right, anchor point on the far right, click on that, and same thing, convert anchor point to a corner. Take my direct selection, or take my selection tool, the black arrow, make sure that that brush is selected. Come to New Brush, Art Brush, click OK. I'm going to rename this Tapered Art Brush 1. I'm going to highlight this because we're going to do a couple versions of this. So Tapered Art Brush 1, highlight it and copy. Colorization method tints, click OK. Next up, I'm going to take my direct selection tool, my white arrow. I'm going to highlight the 2 anchor points in the middle. I'm going to hold the Shift key on my keyboard and the left arrow key and move those 2 points until they're about halfway in between the left anchor and that center point, something like that. And again, black arrow, click on it, New Brush, Art Brush, click OK. I'm going to paste up here in the name, and that would be Tape Art Brush 2. Come down to our colorization method of none, make sure it says tints, click OK. Now I'm going to take my direct selection tool. I'm going to click on the leftmost anchor point till it's active like that and delete it. Then these 2 anchor points that are left, I want to highlight those so they are selected and Command J to join those points together, and that fills those 2 anchor points, puts a path in between those 2 anchor points. I'm going to take my selection tool again, click on that brush, New Brush, Art Brush, click OK, paste up here in the name, and that is going to be Tapered Art Brush 3 with a colorization method of tint. Click OK. Now I'm going to make a copy of this, Command C to copy, and then Command F to paste in front. So there's a copy directly on top of the original. I want to take my white arrow, my direct selection tool. I'm going to double click on that rightmost anchor point. I'm going to drag it up slightly and in a little bit. We're going to make kind of like a feathered at the end hairbrush. Okay, let's do that one more time. Command C, Command F, double click on the anchor point, in and up like that. I'm going to click back on our original, Command C, Command F, double click on the point and drag it down and to the left until it matches there. Make a copy, Command C, Command F, double click on the anchor point and then down and to the left like that. Now we're going to take our selection tool, highlight everything, make a new brush, Art Brush, OK. And we want to call this hairbrush 3. Whoops, with a space in there, hairbrush 3. Colorization method tints, and click OK. Next, I want to take my selection tool and I'm going to stretch this out holding the shift key. I'm going to stretch it something like that, just make it longer. Something along those lines so that we have a longer version. Then I'm going to delete all of them except for that middle one like that. Something along those lines. Okay. Command C, Command F. Take my white arrow, double click, come in like this. I'm going to keep this one pretty close, maybe not that close, but let's see, something like that. Command C, Command F, double click, bringing it in, Command C, Command F, double click, and we're going to make a few more of these. Command C, Command F, and then, whoops, I didn't double click. Make sure you double click or else it's going to move the whole thing. And we're going to do something along those lines. Now, what if we click this original, Command C, Command F, double click, down to the left, click on that line, Command C, Command F, double click, and you're getting the idea. You should know how to do it by now, so I'm just going to go through it really fast to finish this up. And I'm going to do something like, whoops. Actually, I might just leave it like that. All right. So I'm going to highlight that all and make a new brush. Art brush, OK. It's going to be hairbrush number 4 with a colorization method of tints, and click OK. We're almost done. If you look, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 brushes. We want to save these so that we can use them in another project. If we exit out right now, they'll just disappear. So we want to save these so we can reuse them. Really simple. Down here in the bottom left of our brushes panel, it says Brush Libraries menu. Click on that. And then Save Brushes. All right, you do not need to change anything. You'll see something like, maybe you'll see that. And then if I open it up, you get the bigger view, English US version of Illustrator, brushes folder, and we are going to call these hairbrushes. And click Save. Don't save them anywhere else, just the default place. Click Save, and you're done. Nice and easy, and we'll use those in our vector portrait.